Hey guys, this is Joe from Analog Archive. I'm back with another video. The video today is going to be finds from my recent trip to New York City. Um, my wife and I decided to take a trip to New York City. We had been planning it for a few months. Living in upstate New York, it's not a huge, that didn't really involve a whole lot of planning. But there were a few things that we wanted to do while we were there. So one of the big things was obviously for me to be able to go around to the different record stores. Living like less than 6 hours from New York City, I've gone a few times over the years, but this was the first time since collecting records that I went to New York City. So I was really excited to check out the different stores that I hear a lot of people kind of talk about on YouTube along with Instagram. On our way to New York City, we decided to stop in Beacon, and I talked about the great record store there, Hudson Valley Vinyl. I've been going there. I think this was my fourth time there over the last 2 years. Along with there being a great record store there, there's also a commuter train that you can take. So instead of us having to drive into the city, we decided to just park the car and take the train in. I found some great stuff at Hudson Valley Vinyl, so I'll be showing that as I kind of go through the finds. But for the most part, the finds are from 3 different stores. So to get started, this was the big find from Jazz Record Center. Heard so much about the store, watching Ken McAllis videos and him being an employee there. He's talked so highly about it, along with a lot of other people. Most people that go to New York City really go to Jazz Record Center. But this was the big find from it. This is Frank Wright Trio. This is his first session on ESP disc, along with his first session as a leader. The trio is Henry Grimes bass, Tom Price drums, and Frank Wright is on the tenor sax. I love Frank Wright. His stuff is tough to find. So anytime I see it, I really definitely make it a priority to pick it up. So this was a great. The jacket is mono, but the record is actually stereo. So it's kind of a somewhat Frankenstein copy. But yeah, this was a huge find, great free jazz, and a great way to start the trip in terms of stuff in New York City. This was my one find from Urgot Records. Urgot was a great store on East 2nd Street. I had heard about it from Dom, Seeking a Thread. When he went to New York City last year for WFMU, he talked about him along with Brandon and Alex and a few other VC guys went there. So I wanted to kind of check that out. This one's called Harmonicord. I didn't know really much about this. I felt like I had seen this before. I don't really know where I felt like I had like looked this up at some point on Discogs. So when I saw this, I quickly streamed it, and it was really enjoyable. So that was a nice pickup from there. This was probably the big find from Billy's store, Billy's Record Salon in Brooklyn. Really wanted to make a priority to go to Billy's store. Him and I have been talking for the last year or so on Instagram. He's also gotten on like the Jazz Bum stream quite a bit, and I definitely wanted to support his store that just opened last year in Brooklyn. So this is Noah Howard Quartet. You've got Noah Howard alto sax, Rick Colbeck trumpet, Scotty Holt bass, and Dave Grant is on percussion. This is another one similar to the Frank Wright one, where Noah Howard is a great musician. Stuff is tough to find though as well. Anything I see, I really pick up. And this was high on the want list in terms of his discography. So when I saw this on the wall right when I walked in, I knew that I needed to pick this up. Copy is really, really clean, fairly priced as well. So Billy's store was probably the best of the New York City stores that I went to. Was really impressed with not only his jazz inventory. I had kind of going into it knew that the store was going to be really great. He's talked about the fact that his emphasis is on just a well-curated, mostly jazz-emphasized store, but he also had some rock and funk and other genres like that. But the emphasis was mostly on jazz, and the bins were filled with just heat. There was amazing stuff that was not only fairly priced, but were things that you just normally don't see. I didn't really I've picked up 3 records total from him. A lot of other stuff, if I had been early into collecting jazz, I would have grabbed a whole lot more, just because he had so much great, like Blue Note, Prestige, things you just don't see a lot. And again, the prices really were very fair. So that was a great store to go to. I was really very impressed with that. This was another one from Jazz Record Center. I knew that they mostly focused on used stuff, but that they also had some new stuff in the bins. Right when I got there, I checked out. I was curious to see if or what Peter Brötzmann stuff they had, and they had this one along with another one that I'll show in a minute. But this one was in my want list for the last few months. This is it's Full Blast is the name of the group. It's a trio of Brötzmann on alto sax, tenor sax, Terregato. Marina Pliakos is on electric bass, and Michael Wertmuller on drums. Yeah, this one came out in 2013, but was a session recorded in Cologne, Germany in 2006. That I'm finding is a really great time period, like 90s into like the mid 2000s. He really was very dialed in. Great arrangements, great compositions, and the playing is incredible. So that was very nice to see in the bins. Next 2 are from Hudson Valley Vinyl. So this one is it's called Poom. I actually saw this record as well at Billy's. Never seen it before, but within a day I found 2 different copies of this. This is from 1974 on the Composers Collective label. Was not really familiar with it, but based on the cover, it just really screamed like free jazz, almost like private press type stuff. Not really familiar with any of the musicians, but it's piano, clarinet, tenor sax, alto sax, drums, and bass. So it's a nice quintet. Listened to this one at the store and was really enjoyed it. I'm finding that I really like clarinet, especially when it comes to like avant-garde or free stuff. Just the sound from the instrument really is a nice thing. So that was a great one. Again, really didn't know anything about it until I listened to it. On the other hand, though, this one I was familiar with. This is Globe Unity, Alex von Schlippenbach. This is the first Globe Unity record that came out, and it pretty much predates all other Globe Unity orchestra stuff by like maybe 6, 7, 8 years. This is from this was recorded in '66 and came out in '67. This is the original German pressing on Saba. Subsequent pressings were on MPS in the US, along with I think other parts of Europe. This has a lot of great kind of up-and-coming free jazz European guys, so like Manfred Schuf, cornet, flugelhorn. Brötzmann is on this, alto sax. This is probably the earliest, or some of the earliest. There's one album that I've seen that is before this in terms of his recordings. Gerd Dudek is on tenor sax. Willem Brucker, baritone, soprano. Gunter Hampel is on bass clarinet, flute. Karl Berger, vibraphone. Bushi Nabergal, bass. He's on the right channel, and then Peter Kowald is on the bass on the left channel. And then Schlippenbach is on piano, along with being the conductor of the group. I knew once I saw this, condition was great. I knew I really needed to pick this up. This is one that I'd been familiar with for maybe a year or so. I know that Brandon, Faust in the Head, both YouTube and Instagram, had picked this up last year from a store in Buffalo, and really was just looking for a copy. Not usually terribly expensive, but not one that you really come across a whole lot. So definitely wanted to grab that when I saw it. So that was a nice addition as well. Continuing, Luther Thomas 11th Street Fire Suite. This is a duo of Luther Thomas, alto sax, small instruments, and recitation. And then Luther C. Petty is on flute and small instruments. Real high intensity free jazz, especially Luther Thomas on alto sax. Very, very intense, real gritty, edgy type playing. And this was another one, the Blind Buy from Billy's store. I listened to this, not a super expensive one, but it's also not one that you really see. This was like $30, so great price for it. This was recorded in 1978, and I think came out the same year. It was on the Creative Consciousness Records label, so not familiar with it, but was a cool one. Billy had, as I was kind of listening to some stuff, he had dug up some stuff in the back, and that was one of the ones that he had shown me, thinking that I was interested in it. So that was a great one there. This is the last find from Jazz Record Center, another Peter Brötzmann one. I was probably more excited to see this one than the Full Blast. Ever since I found the other record by this group, it's Construct and Peter Brötzmann. There's one that has like a yellow cover to it. I found that one at the Bob Shop a few months ago, but this one was another one that was in my want list on Discogs. This one's called Dalune, 2 LP. It's a quintet. You've got Korhan Argudin is on drums. Ozun Usta is on percussion. Umut Kaglar is on guitar. Korhan Futachi, I think it is on tenor sax, baritone sax. And then Peter Brötzmann, alto, tenor sax, and clarinet. So the group construct is like this, like heavy, like hard rock type group. And then when you kind of mix that with Peter Brötzmann, you just get this like free jazz, like free, like rock improvisation one. So this was another big one, brand new from the store. So that was a nice one. Another one from Hudson Valley Vinyl. This is New Movements. I was familiar with this one. Another FMP. This is George Guar Quintet on FMP. This is from 1976. You've got Quintet. Not familiar with anybody on this, but being a big FMP collector, I knew that I wanted this one if I ever saw it in person, so was able to grab this one. $40, pretty great for any FMP. If it's under 50, that's usually going to be worth picking up. So that was a great free jazz one. This one was kind of like a VCLT, one that Billy was very graciously, he very graciously threw in. This is, it's called Duologue Heritage. It's Warren Smith and Toki. So there's the musicians. It's just a duo of Warren Smith is on drums, and then Hidefumi Toki is on alto sax, soprano sax. This like borders free jazz. It's like post-bop modal, but with like a real, again, edge, just edge to it. Very high energy, high intensity. Billy was actually playing this one in the store while I was looking through some stuff, and I just really loved it. And I asked him about it, and he said it was VCLT for me. He said he picks this up anytime he sees it, and yeah, he very nicely gave this to me, so that was very nice. Thank you again, Billy, for that. And then the last one was probably the most surprising, but it was also probably the biggest one, just in terms of like rarity. Never really thought that I was going to see this one. This one was another one that was on my radar, but price of it, if you look on Discogs, like it's like $300-400 plus, and that is, for example, Workshop Free Music 1969 to 1978. This is a 3 LP box set compilation of different FMP recordings that dated from, again, 69 to 78. You've got the 3 LPs are broken into its groups, which is like usually like quartet, quintet, different albums, different just tracks from it. Again, it's almost like a sampler of like FMP to see if you're if that kind of that label is worth collecting, or maybe specific artists are worth collecting. But you've got like artists like Albert Mangelsdorf, Steve Lacy, Peter Brotzman, trying to think of who else was in it. Those were some of the big ones, but there was also like some Globe Unity Orchestra stuff. So again, the 3 LPs, one of them was groups, one of them was called soloists, and then the third one I believe was called orchestra. So those were a little bit more big band type stuff. But yeah, the 3 LPs. Chris, the owner of Hudson Valley Vinyl, had found that one like in the back or in the basement. And he let me know when I got there that he had found this. Again, never really expected to have found that. That was a really big find. He also gave me a really great price for it. The box had seen better days, but everything else was there. The 3 LPs were in great condition, along with the booklet that came with it. So that was a big one to start out the trip. So yeah, it was a really great trip to New York City along with Beacon. I picked up 11 records. That's probably the biggest record haul that I've had from going to like a city or a location. But just, yeah, found some really great free jazz stuff. Never had seen any of this stuff before. So to be able to not only support the stores, but also be able to find that great stuff made the trip worthwhile, along with just going to New York City and continuing to explore there. So that is it for this video. Thank you for everybody that has liked and subscribed. And I will be back in probably a few weeks or so. And yeah, till my next video. Again, thank you for the support. Bye.